Hi guys, thanks for joining me today. I'm Marilyn. On this video, I'm going to use the Glowforge and I'm going to cut a couple of pair of earrings. Now these earrings were made in Inkscape. That's a free design software. They're engraved with a leopard print, cut out of leather, and then I dyed them. So if you're interested in that type of project, keep watching the video. Here's my 2 to 3 ounce veg tan leather. I have some Heat and Bond Ultra Hold. And then I'm warming up my Easy Press too. You could use an iron, a heat press, or an easy press. I'm going to go ahead and cut off this excess. And then I like to make my earrings with fronts and backs that look nice. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and fold this over. And cut that in two. Now I'll cut off a piece of the Heat and Bond about the size of this piece of leather. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sandwich this Heat and Bond between the two layers and adhere them together. With Heat and Bond, you have two sides. You have this rough, shiny side, that's your adhesive, and then you have this paper side. What you're going to do is you're going to adhere the rough, shiny side onto the back of a piece of leather. And then once that's cooled down, you're going to lift the paper backing off and add your other layer. Okay, so I have my Cricut pressing pad. You could use a towel or anything just to protect your table. And then I have this Teflon sheet because if there's any excess of the adhesive, it'll pull right off this Teflon sheet. Okay, so here's the back of a piece of leather. And then I have my shiny side down on the leather. Now, you don't need a piece of Teflon on top necessarily, but my Heat and Bond wants to roll up. So I'm going to put a Teflon sheet on the top just to give it some weight and hold it down. You could use a thin piece of fabric, a piece of copy paper, anything would work if your Heat and Bond is rolling up. Now, you're just supposed to do this for a few seconds to get it to adhere. Then I'm going to go ahead and peel up the paper backing. What this does is it exposes the other side of the adhesive. Now I want to go ahead and place the other layer of my leather on the top of that. Now with fabric, you typically now press for about 8 seconds. The leather is thicker and it takes longer for the heat to get through. So I'm going to start with 20 seconds. Again, just to protect my Easy Press, I have a piece of Teflon sheet down. And then my Easy Press is set to 300 degrees. And again, I'm doing this for 20 seconds. So I want to check this and see if I think it has a good bond. And this is really hot. Okay, that seems to be fine. So now to keep this from curling up while it's hot, I'm going to put this under something flat. Now you could put this under a book or a piece of wood or anything for it to cool off and lay flat. I just have a tile. So I'll lay that under there for just about 2 or 3 minutes. Now this is some masking paper, and I like to mask both the front and the back side of my earrings when I'm doing leather earrings like this. Now that's going to be the back of my earrings. I'm going to go ahead and cut this down a little bit. Then I'm going to mask the front with this other piece. What the masking does is it protects your leather or whatever you're working with from getting char marks or singed. It just helps protect your material. Not everyone finds it necessary, and in some applications I don't, but with leather I really like to use it. So I'm going to go down and put this in my Glowforge. I'm in the Glowforge software, and I want to go ahead and click Create so I can upload my design. I made my design in Inkscape, and that's a free design software. Here's my design, so I'll click on it and I'll say Upload. Now, you see the leather that I put in there, and I can see that the focus is right in the middle of it. If it weren't, I could click on these three dots and I could say Set Focus, and I could move it right to the middle of my leather. That just helps the camera. Now here's my design. It came in 3 layers, and that's exactly what I wanted. I want to make 2 pairs of earrings. So with the whole thing selected, I'm going to hit Command C for copy, Command V for paste, and I'll hit that 3 times. That way I have 3 more earrings. All right, to make the most use out of my leather, I'm going to go ahead and rotate this one, and then I can scoot it up very closely to my other design, and then I'll move 1 more earring here, and then I'm going to go ahead and rotate this 90 degrees so I can put it down below. All right, so I'm going to go over here to Unknown, click on it once, and I'm going to say that I'm using uncertified material. Now this first layer is what I want to engrave. So I'm going to tell the Glowforge to engrave it. Then I can go down here to Manual. I want to set the speed at 700. And then I want to use 50% power for this engrave. I'm fine with 225 lines per inch. That's kind of like a resolution thing, like a dots per inch on a photo. And then I'm on autofocus height. If I moved it to manual, that's when I'd need to enter my thickness. All right, so this is the main part of the earring. That's going to be my cut. So I click on Cut, go to Inner Settings. All right, I've already clicked on Cut. Let's go to Manual. I want to use a speed of 250. And then I want full power. 1 pass should be plenty. Then this circle is the little circle at the top of the earring that my hardware will go through. So I'll click on that layer, click on Inner Settings, tell my Glowforge to cut it. Once again, go down to Manual, a speed of 250, and full power. Now the order in which the Glowforge is going to work is based upon your layers here. So right now it's going to engrave first, then it would cut the outside, then it'd cut the little small circle. I want to go ahead and change that order. I want my circle to be cut before the main part of my earring. So I just dragged it up to the middle. Now this is a lot of engraving, so this is going to take quite a while. Let's go ahead and click Print and see what we get. So for these 2 pair earrings, it's going to be 19 minutes and 38 seconds. Okay, here's the earrings right out of the Glowforge, and they still have the paper on them, the masking paper. So I'm going to go ahead and take all of that off. Now I like to keep all of my leather dies in this wood box because leather dye is messy. So I have some wax paper down, and I tend to put my dies in plastic containers, then I dip my products in them. I have some paper towels handy, these tweezers. I'm going to do a dip dye in this brown, and then I have this oxblood color, which is a bright reddish pink, and I'm going to put that on the other pair with this dauber. Okay, I'll go ahead and start with the dark brown. And I just keep my dyes stored in these plastic containers. When I need to add more, I add more. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put them face down, and then I just kind of wiggle my die around. I'm going to go ahead and flip these over so the back can get covered really well. And then for me, that's all there is to it. So I have a little toothpick. I'm going to put that in the circle of the earring. And then just let it hang there so it can drip the excess off. Then I'll just lay it down here and I'll let it dry for several hours. Now I can see that there is some excess dye pooled up on this end. So I'm going to go ahead and get that distributed a little bit better. And then I see I have quite a bit of excess dye pooled up at the end of this. I'm just going to go ahead and pull some of that excess off. So those are really, really dark right now. They're still going to be pretty darn dark, but they're not going to be that dark when they dry. All right, go ahead and cover this up, and then we'll move on to the oxblood color. Now this dark brown, it is part of Phoebe's leather colors, and I like this because it is I think it's a water base. It doesn't have a strong smell, and I just feel good using that. And where this line is called leather colors, this one is just called leather dye. I'm going to shake that up. Now I prefer to dip dye because I think it gets a very even coat and a really strong coat. But I don't want to put this in a container because I don't plan on using this much in the next couple months. And it'll evaporate less in the bottle that's sealed up really well than it will in these plastic containers. So I'm going to go ahead and rub this all over the back. And I'm putting a very generous amount on the leather. I really don't want it to dry splotchy. So I'm going to try to get a really good coat on this. So basically your first coat's going to sink into the leather pretty quickly, and then your follow-up coats will give it more color. And it just helps it dry more evenly. You really want to saturate, at least the way I like to do it, is to really saturate your leather. Okay, I don't know if you can tell on the camera, but this one has sunk in or has absorbed in pretty well, except for just up here where there's some excess. So I'm going to go ahead and flip that over, trying to put it in a clean spot of my wax paper. So I'm going to let these dry for several hours. Then I'm going to put a coat of Resolene on the top. That's just an acrylic protective coat. Gives them a little bit of shine. And then the hardware. Okay guys, it's about 8:30 in the morning and I stayed up till about 4 in the morning working on these. This is the brown pair. And then my oxblood pair turned out a little darker than what I would have liked, but they're still pretty. So I'm just going to put a couple of coats of Resolene on these real quick. As they dry, they get a little bit out of shape. You can easily get them back to what they need to be. Okay, I'm just going to put a couple of thin layers of this on. I think I already said that. Now this is why I like to do mine double-sided. Look how pretty the back of that looks. Okay, I'll let those dry just for a little bit, and then I'll put the hardware in. Thanks so much for watching and sticking it out till the end. Until the next video, bye-bye.